Yeah, there's still truckers, by the way, so, like, my window's closed,
That's fine.
but there will probably be occasional beep beeps.
I was gonna make a joke
dumb.
about, like, don't be alarmed if a trucker flies through Carol's window. I'm just imagining, like, from Batman Year One, you know, when, like, the bat flies through the window and he's like, I'll become a bat. It's like that, but with Carol and truckers. And Carol's like, that's it, I'll become a trucker.
Oh my god, I hope not. What is the feature-length podcast? Anyone?
The feature-length podcast is a show where three idiots talk about film and entertainment.
Good answer.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, are you talking to us?
Yeah. I'm talking to the voices in my head.
Like, I truly don't know. It felt like a fever dream. I swear to God, I could not.
It sounds so stupid hearing that.
If you're listening to this is a podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast, a podcast where we talk about movies and TV for a feature length of time. Alright folks, today we're talking about Emerald Fennell's Promising Young Woman. Before I get into any sort of introduction, I need to give a trigger warning. This film, and therefore this episode, include mentions of sexual assault, suicide, murder, drugs, and alcohol. Also, we will be discussing the film in detail, so there will be spoilers. If you haven't yet seen the movie, I recommend checking it out before listening to this episode, because I think it's an important movie for everyone to watch, especially male-identifying people, and I would hate for it to be spoiled for you, because there are some twists, let me tell ya. So watch it, come back and listen. And also, if you're a female-identifying person and this movie made you really sad or mad or frustrated, etc., and you don't really want to think about it today, you might want to skip this one. I get it. And now into an actual introduction. Promising Young Woman is essentially a rape revenge movie. It follows Cassie, a 30-year-old med school dropout, who is living with her parents and working at a coffee shop. While that might sound like the description of a woman who is just down on her luck, she really has just dedicated her life to getting back at the general male population for the death of her best friend Nina, who committed suicide after being raped by one of her classmates in medical school. When she finds out that her friend's rapist has moved back to town, her general revenge plot quickly becomes very specific as we watch her 5 acts of vengeance against those she considers to be personally responsible for her friend's death. Also, in the middle, she falls in love with Bo Burnham, which is definitely noteworthy because we know I'm obsessed with Bo, and that's one of our best performing episodes, so shout out to the other Bo stans. Even though he plays an ultimately evil character, I guess we'll discuss evil in quotes. We won't shit talk him too much, I promise. So hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Here is Carolina and Dan.
You mean
and Marco?
You mean Marco and Dan? Because your name's
Carolina. I was going to say Carolina and Dan, and then Dan could say hi, and then Marco could say hi. But never mind. Now you've heard all the
gotcha.
voices.
I was very confused.
I thought you were introducing us too.
Yeah, I was like, Carol, did you forget?
You or me? I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot too.
But
yeah, I think we're past hellos. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they hear our little intro blurb, but they don't know who's who. We don't say our names.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm Dan for the record.
Yeah, I'm Marco.
Thanks, guys. We finally got there. A minute after I tried to get us there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all good.
No worries. So what'd you guys think of the movie? I saw it like when it came out. So I'm not new to it, but you guys kind of are. So one of you can go first. Tell me what you thought.
Well, you're brand new to it, so do you want to go first?
Sure. I thought this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's very well done, and just a testament to how much I was enjoying it. At some point, like a third of the way through, I had to go eat dinner, so I paused it, and I scarfed down a whole bowl of pasta in like 5 minutes because I wanted to get back to watching the movie. Nice. I thought it was really great. Obviously, we'll talk about it, but among other things, what I really liked, especially towards the end, was, as you said in the intro, this deals with rape in particular, and we see a portrayal of rape without actually having to show it. And just a few episodes ago, we were talking about Wind River, and we all generally really liked that movie, but the one major problem we had with it was, like, are rape scenes really necessary in movies to get the idea across? And this way, or this movie, I should say, did it real tastefully compared to that movie. And it really, it very much helped the subject matter. And yeah, overall, I mean, even that scene aside, I very much enjoyed this movie. Very well done.
Nice. Listeners, you can't see, but Dan just did 2 thumbs
up.
up.
Oh yeah, I did a double thumbs up.
2 thumbs up from Dan. Yeah, I
put
watched
that in the
this
blurb.
movie.
Our reviews.
Oh my god.
I had to take a picture of me giving a thumbs up. Pull it up at the exact time code, or you won't get the full experience.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be lost on you. I just saw this movie for the first time like 2 weeks ago or something like that. It's very recently. Not for the lack of everyone telling me to watch it, and I knew I needed to watch it at some point, but you know, just one of those things. I also love this movie. I think this movie is excellent. This is like Emerald's like writing and directing debut, right? Which is like
for a feature, yes.
For a feature, sure. Which is shocking. It might be one of like the strongest writing and directing debuts like ever for someone. Yeah, I just think it's really great, and it's borderline like hard to talk about because it's just kind of like awesome. There is like there's a few like in thinking about it, just to try to come up with like talking points other than like, isn't this awesome? There's like a very, very, very couple tiny structure things that I don't even think are bad, but just like in thinking about it, I was like noteworthy that I want to bring up at some point. But yeah, other than that, I just think it's like a phenomenal debut. And one of the words you said in talking about it was tasteful, and like there's a version of this movie that's not necessarily bad. It could be really fun. That would be not necessarily tasteful about the subject matter. And I also want to get into this is like to some degree, I think that's the version of this movie that for some reason the marketing tried to make it seem like it was, or at least like a lot of the marketing I saw and even like the poster and stuff try to make this movie seem like something it's not. And yeah, this is a very like tasteful drama at the end of the day, whereas we'll get into the other stuff.
Do you mean like I think the word you're looking for is gratuitous?
Yeah, like
not that it was gratuitous, that it was marketed more gratuitously? It was
marketed that it would be a bit more gratuitous, or even that it would be a bit more like silly. Not silly, maybe silly is not the right word, but I guess gratuitous. I guess it was marketed more like, at least again from what I saw, like almost like it was like a reverse slasher horror movie. Like that was always the vibe I got before watching it, was like obviously understanding that like, yeah, this is a woman that's like going on a crusade to like avenge for men that rape her or whatever, but I always got the vibe in it that she was like killing them. I don't know why.
That is what I thought before seeing the movie.
Yeah, like I it's so inexplicable to me that that's how the movie was marketed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I also agree. The final movie that it ended up being like was much more strategic and impressive than what the marketing would have led to it.
Yeah.
Appearing to be.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but I guess just to keep our structure, I'll give my first general thoughts, and then we can get into it, because you already brought up a lot of stuff that I really want to talk about, so hopefully we don't forget anything.
Okay,
cool. Yeah, so I saw this movie because I started seeing commercials for it, or like, I went looking for commercials for it. I always look up just like trailer compilations on YouTube, and this was just part of the trailer compilations in my spare time. Because I don't watch enough things. I need to add more to my list.
You watched in our last episode.
I was just going to say.
Sorry to interrupt. You had a bigger list of things you watched in the past month than Marco and I did in like the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Also, you could have probably mentioned that in our list of like great trailers that got you pumped up.
That is true. But I will say, yeah, I kind of also saw it and thought it would be a slasher film, which did get me excited. But then because it wasn't that, similarly to you guys, I like that better. But anyway, so I saw it because I saw the trailer, and I was like, I love a movie where men get fucked over, just in general. That alone was enough for me. So I watched it, back when it was deep pandemic. I watched it virtually at the same time with my friend Maya. And we both liked it upon initial watch, but the ending, which we'll talk about in more detail, I mean, we already said there'd be spoilers, so I'll just say it, but when she dies at the end, it kind of shocked us so much that we were almost like, did this make us hate it? Like, it didn't ultimately. Like, obviously I sat with it and like realized it was necessary and it was great and watched a bunch of video essays, but just the initial shock of her death and like the violence of it left such a bad taste in our mouths that we were like, wait, was this bad? But then we came around to it, and then as soon as it was released on Crave or Prime or wherever for free, because before I paid to rent it off YouTube because I'm a good citizen, and theaters weren't open. But yeah, so then when it came out for free, I watched it again immediately, and then I watched it again for this podcast. And every single time I find more little details about it that I love, but also at the same time I do get like very mad and sad and angry, and it just like makes me go through a roller coaster of emotions. But ultimately every time it ends, I kind of just want to scream, which is nice sometimes. It's good catharsis. But yeah, so I really like this film. I can only watch it when I'm in a certain mindset, because it is very like true to life, being the only woman on this episode. I don't really want to get into just how shitty men can be, because the movie talks about it enough.
Okay, but literally my first note, and Marco can attest to this, is men are trash.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a great film. Even though if you might watch it and think that some of the behavior of the men is like exaggerated or silly, I promise you every single word that came out of every single man's mouth is something that I've heard said to me or my friends. It's all insane. They're all trash. It's just she went to a bar and wrote down some phrases. But yeah, no, this movie's great and like makes a really dark subject hilarious. Yeah. So that's my thoughts. Now, what do we want to talk about first?
Well, let's first talk about... I just want to touch on what you said about, like, thinking that what they say, the men, is, like, over-exaggerated. I don't know about you, but, like, one of my favorite aspects of this was, like, how it wasn't that. Because I think there's,
it could have
again...
been more, in fact, I think.
I think everything with this movie that I really love and that works for me is that it could have been more heightened, and it still would have been a good movie. Like, it could have been a super heightened slasher movie where the men are cartoon villains and she's killing them, and that still would have been fine and gotten the point across, and it would have been enjoyable. You know what I mean? It would have been enjoyable, but, like, that was, like, one of my first notes in watching it was just how, like, this is just... Yeah, like, I know, like, people like this is legitimately just how these guys, like, act in real life. And I thought that was, like, very, very purposefully done. And also, like, part of why the movie works so well, not to jump too far ahead, but just the idea that even, like, the main men that we spend time with or that we see her deal with, even just the casting of it. Like, think about who's cast. It's Adam Brody, who is, like...
That's one of my favorite parts. The casting...
Just
which
the
one was
funniest men.
Exactly.
So genius.
So Adam Brody's the first guy, the very first guy.
Oh, okay.
Who he's actually in Kid Detective, so you'll see him in that too next week.
But he's from what, the OC? One of those.
He's from the OC. Yeah. He was in Gilmore Girls,
well,
but he's like famously, of course, he's famously just like a cool, funny, not even cool, just like a funny, quirky like guy.
Yeah, he
like
always
just very
plays
down
like
to earth.
A nice guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the second guy is McLovin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Platts.
Yes. So
the
casting of them, and then the casting of Bo Burnham, obviously, is just like the most unassuming.
Even
men,
Alison Brie.
Which,
all of like the bad people she made like token nice guys in Hollywood. Like none of them have ever had a scandal. It's like people that are generally cast and regarded as like good, so that you would go into the movie seeing them and not want to believe the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I feel like those are the type of people that would want to support this project, so it makes sense, like, behind the scenes as well.
Even
also,
Max
surprised
Greenfield,
that
Schmidt.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah,
mate. You haven't seen New Girl?
Oh,
at the end,
it's a big deal.
The guy's friend that like walks in the room.
Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Schmidt from New Girl, and he's hilarious. But again, even casting him, I was like, oh, this is great. Like,
also, I was not expecting to see Doc Ock.
Okay, I messaged Carol. I don't know if it was in the group chat or if it was privately, but I messaged Carol, and I was like, why did you neglect to tell me that Dr. Octopus was in this movie?
First of all, he's uncredited, so I also always forget. And I don't know why he's uncredited.
What? Yeah. He has like a major role. Why is he uncredited?
I
what the
know,
hell?
And I have no idea. I could not find an answer, but it kept coming up in my research. I first saw it on Wikipedia, and I was like, oh, someone just like was dumb on Wikipedia. Like, there's no way. And so I went to the IMDb, and I was like, oh no, he really is uncredited. I don't know why. Like, he's a named character. He's essential to the plot.
Yeah, it wasn't a cameo or anything.
He's one of the acts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and he like.
He's 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, tangent, but I found that so bizarre.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I do want to quickly talk about in your not in your intro, in your like your when you were talking about your experience with this movie.
Yeah.
Your initial reaction to the end.
Yes.
I know I don't mean sorry to jump straight to the end, but like
I mean,
just
it's
because
a big
you brought
topic.
it up already.
We have to talk about it eventually.
I was very shocked too.
Right?
I 100% expected, because she's proven she's good at like acting in a state that she's not actually in. She was like faking being suffocated, and she would like rise up.
Yeah.
You know that like typical shot where she's out of focus in the background and she like sits up. But that just didn't happen, and she was just dead.
Yeah.
And I was worried that there would be like a serious lack of agency in that like final act of hers, but it was so cool and so satisfying. That's a note I have too. It's just like the wedding finale was very satisfying, how she pre-planned
Chills.
all of the revenge after her death. That was like Doctor Strange type foreseeing of like, after she's dead, the plan is not over. Like, there's mail to be sent, there's people to be arrested in my name. That was very cool.
Agreed. I also was shocked that they killed her, but I mean, when you think about what the movie's about, I was like, okay, like I get it, like I get what's going on with her arc and like the metaphor of everything. So yeah, like I understand her death. I like the ending, but I just, there is the tiniest part of me, like I like what happens in the end of like her still winning, I guess, like her still getting the satisfying ending. I'm totally fine with. The convenience of like everything converging like at this one exact point in time, I was kind of like, are you Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight? Like, I don't know, but that was like the only.
Well,
it is such a small thing.
The wedding was.
No, I know, but like just.
It's not like,
and again, like obviously,
as they were saying the vows or something.
Yeah, like obviously
too much.
True, and like it's a movie, so I get like, okay, yeah, like how else are you going to show this? Like you're going to have to show like it all happens at once, and this is the big reveal of it happening, because like you couldn't really show it in a more like natural, like over time kind of way, because once the reveal happens, like that's the last thing is the reveal. So it's like you have to do it all at once, and I totally get that. But just like the logical part of my brain was like, okay, I get that we're seeing all these things happening at once, but like I am glad that she succeeds in the end. So you know, I'm willing to deal with the movie magic of that part of it.
Well, that's
it is.
Sorry, you go, Dan.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, it is sad though that Al was responsible for yet another life, but at least as a result, he's in jail for it.
Yeah.
Unlike the first time, so that in that sense, it was very satisfying.
Yes, agreed.
Well, the thing is, because everyone was so like shocked by the ending, obviously there's a lot of like interviews with her with people just being like, why? And she said that initially, like, she tried, obviously, I mean, I haven't written a movie, but I just assume you try a bunch of endings. You don't just always know what you're going to write. So she tried a bunch. One where she, like, defeats Al, and one where it ended with just them burning the body and not, like, the planned text stuff. But obviously that made people really upset. And then also just, like, logically, when she was talking with some other writers about it, and producers, they were like, well, she's been so like thorough and detail oriented this whole time, so it almost like is against her character to not have planned for like just in case things go wrong, knowing that like this was like a pretty dangerous thing for her to do, because like she does put herself in danger every week and always has like contingency plans and is able to stay safe. Although there were also deleted scenes where you were supposed to see her, like, with bruises, and you were supposed to then link together that, like, one of the people she went home with, like, hurt her.
Right.
Obviously, like, not that seriously, but still. Yeah, so I do understand. And she said that, like, just to be realistic, if a woman is ever up against a man in that way, like, there kind of is no way that she could win, unfortunately, if you just think about how the scenario would go. And so, like, it was just kind of the only way it could have ended in her mind. And, like, yeah, like I said, when I first watched it, I was really upset, but, like, I do understand that that is the most realistic ending, and, like, thank God she changed it to at least have the text arrest and avenging and stuff, because I would have been extra mad. Like, I don't even think I would have recommended the movie to anyone if she just died and, like, that was it, because I just would have been like, this is too depressing, I refuse.
Yeah. Makes sense. It does, like, as we were driving towards that ending when watching it, I was sort of like, so what the fuck is gonna happen? Because, like, once, like, after, like, getting through the first few scenes and being like, oh, so this isn't the weird slasher horror movie that I thought it would be. Then I was like, okay, so this is just a drama. And then you get to that ending, and I was like, huh. Like, I was like, I genuinely was like, I literally could not predict where it was gonna go, because I was like, it can't go where, like, she just, like, straight up kills this guy or something, because that would completely defeat the purpose of everything we've built towards. So, like, what is gonna happen? So, like, yeah, it's definitely shocking, but also, like you said, like, after considering it, it's like, it's just the natural conclusion to the story almost. Like, there's nowhere else it could have went that I think would leave the movie in this, like, satisfying way. So,
yeah, you're right, because if she had succeeded, just from, like, a screenwriting perspective, at the bachelor party,
yeah,
it would have just completely undone her arc
Yeah.
leading up to that. So this definitely does drive the concept home better than if that were the end, I think.
Agreed.
Even though, like we've said multiple times, it is unfortunate that she doesn't survive the story, but it still is very effective in what it's set out to do, I think.
Sure, but I also think it's okay sometimes, like, obviously the particulars of the story of, like, being a woman dealing with abuse, who had a friend that dealt with abuse and who died, like, to see her die sucks just because of, like, that. But just from a protagonist character perspective, like, she's definitely a very nihilistic character. Like, one of the... I hate to do this, guys, but, like, I have to talk about Batman to get my point across, and this is what
You've already talked about Batman. You talked about the Joker.
Oh, yeah, fuck it. Okay, we're too far gone. But
How does this happen every time?
I know, I'm sorry.
How are we going to mention Aaron Sorkin on this episode?
I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. Like, this is... Anyway, they were actually in a, like, one of those Hollywood Roundtable interview things on YouTube. Yeah. Emerald and Sorkin were in the same one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched
nice.
that one. Anyway, but to go back to Batman, as this episode is obviously about, no, I was just going to say, like, Batman is, like, serialized fiction, so it doesn't ever end.
Yeah.
Like, it can, but it doesn't. But to go back to Dark Knight Rises with what Nolan did, like, if you were going to end Batman, like, it would basically have to end with him dying, just because of, like, what that character is and how nihilistic it is, and this idea of, like, I can never, like, fix what I've been through, but I just don't want other people to have to go through that same thing. And, like, as funny as it is, that's kind of what this protagonist is going through as well, so it would be kind of weird for this story to end in any way that was just, like, a happy ending where everything turned out for her without it kind of betraying everything that she's been through the whole movie. So, like, it sucks, but yeah, like, I think from a protagonist perspective, like, I understand why she has to die at the end of the movie.
It's like the only way her mission can end is upon her death.
Yeah. Like, there's no... Well, there's even the scene with the mother of her friend.
Yeah.
Very short scene. And
played by, I don't know
Molly
her name,
Shannon.
but she's been in a bunch
Molly
of...
Shannon.
Right, yeah.
And again, like, it's been a few weeks, so I don't remember the exact, like, phrasing of it, but she basically told her, like, you have to stop. Like, you have to, like,
for
move on. For everyone.
Yeah.
And, again, that's a very Batman thing of, like, move on with your life. And, like, no, you don't understand. I can't do that. I can't be that. Maybe I thought I did.
It's like Rachel.
It is like Rachel.
In Batman Begins.
And like how Bruce was like I was gonna quit and we were gonna be together, but then Rachel died, and so he couldn't. And like that's kind of like what happens here in a way, where like Bo is sort of her Rachel, but then when that all goes when that goes to shit, it's kind of
Molly
like
Shannon is her Alfred.
Yes, and then when that all goes to shit, there's only one way out, and it's the death route. That's it. Like this story, it only has one ending. It reminds me a lot of that scene. I'm sorry. It reminds me a lot of that scene from Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which has been circulating around the internet because Robert Pattinson like cited it in an interview.
So it's been circulating around your internet. Got it.
Yes. Yeah. Batman Twitter. Yeah, it's been circulating around Batman Twitter. But like, it was just, it's the animated series' origin, basically. They made a movie that was like the origin for the animated series, and there's this scene in it where like a young Bruce, just before he's about to become Batman, like meets this woman, and he like starts to like not be depressed and thinks he can like maybe have a normal life. And so there's like this really sad scene where he's at his parents' grave and he's like crying and he's like, I promised that I would like go down this path, but I just didn't ever think I could be happy again, and like maybe I can be happy. But then this woman leaves, and then that's when he's like, fuck it, I'm Batman. And then he goes and becomes Batman. And so it's
like Casino Royale.
It is like Casino Royale too. So it's like all these tropes that are in this that I obviously like it works of like oh like we were this close, we were so close to her, like maybe I could move on, but like I can't, and because of that I have to double down, and because of that there's only one way out of this, and that's death. So yeah, all this is just a very long-winded way of saying that like as much as it sucks to see her die, like for the narrative, like she has to.
Yeah, as much before you started making all the Batman links, I was going to talk about how her relationship with Bo was kind of her window into what could be and her future.
I like how we're just calling him Bo.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, I mean he's Bo. I mean
Bo Burnham. What even is his name in it? Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Whatever, same thing. But yeah, another thing that shocked me. Another thing that shocked me when I initially watched it was that Ryan in the end was the same as all the men, because like even though going into this movie I knew it was like a fuck all men movie, and I knew it was a revenge thing, and like that's what I was looking for, but still, and maybe it's because of my bias and my love for Bo Burnham, but going into it they start having this relationship, and like I fell for it, you know? Like I really thought I was in her shoes. I really thought he was gonna be a good one. And
well, I knew the twist, and even I was like, I forgot that I didn't know the twist. I knew that he turns out to be a piece of shit. I didn't know how. That's the one thing I knew going into this movie.
See, I didn't have that warning.
Knowing
and,
that.
Oh man, it got me.
I mean, I forgot just because of how great he appeared to be. That like went into the back of my mind, and then it came back
as
later
soon as
at the end.
That Paris Hilton scene comes on with them in the pharmacy, it was all over. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get married and live happily ever after. It's the only ending. But obviously then it would have been a worse movie, so
of course
I get it, but it really got me.
I also knew the twist, unfortunately, just because obviously like I watch lots of film YouTube, and I think Red Letter Media, I believe, covered this at some point.
Yeah, I haven't watched the review of this because I didn't want to before I watched it.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'd seen it 2 years ago now, whenever it fucking came out, and so I knew the twist from that, but I didn't know.
You watched the review without watching the movie?
Yeah, I watch all their stuff, even if I haven't seen the movie. They're just funny. Like I don't really care about their opinions, but they're just like humoring. Yeah, they're humoring the way they appear. So I did know the twist. But obviously it doesn't change the fact that it's still sad and heartbreaking when it happens. If I do, like, my only nitpick with this, from a structure perspective that I have a nitpick about, and it's the same one I brought up with Booksmart. It's not like something I'm just pulling out of my ass. It's just something that, like, frustrates me to no end, and it is just as we're about to get to the lowest moment of the second act, right before that, everything's okay. It's like we're at the end of the movie and everything's okay. And this movie also, like Booksmart, has a bit of a prolonged sequence of like everything in her life is 100%. There was nothing going wrong, and I was like, okay, so like that tells me exactly where we are in the story, and also that tells me that now is when the twist is going to be. I knew what the twist was, but even if I didn't know what the twist was, I feel like that immediately would have cued me in to be like, okay, so what's like the fucked up thing that's gonna happen now? So I don't know. It's such a pet peeve for me of like riding that line of, yeah, I get it. We have to like set them up as if they succeeded, so the fall hurts more. But I don't know. It was a little much of like, there's no way. Like we all know something bad is gonna happen now. Like that was like what I alluded to at the beginning. My only nitpick about this, and I'm gonna bring it up every time it happens. Every time it bothers me in a movie.
Do you have a name for that?
I don't. Off the top of my head, like
false happy ending.
Yeah, I guess the false happy ending, like it, because it's always so obvious. Because it's like, I know we've only been watching this movie for an hour. I know this isn't actually going to be the ending of the movie. Nothing's been resolved. So like, why are we going on for 10 minutes just watching perfectly happy things unfold? You know what I mean? Like, we can just cut that down. Let's just cut that down a little bit, just a little bit of happiness, and then the crash. I know, but like, I think it would be for the betterment of the movie, unfortunately, you know. And then you could go back and watch the deleted scenes and be like, or you could watch the
pretty integral to the film.
You could watch the Emerald cut of this movie.
It is a catch-22 though, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, but at the same time, the more you show that stuff, like you said, for example, a 10-minute sequence of just like them living happily, the harder the fall is later.
Totally.
So it is. It's like a double-edged sword. Almost.
It's just like it's just that Goldilocks zone thing of
how much
you need to show enough to care when the fall happens. But if you start showing too much, then immediately I'm going, oh, this is suspicious. Like you like, don't make me feel it's suspicious. Like, just keep it in that perfect range of things are going great, and I'm not questioning that things are going great.
8 minutes.
Well, no, I mean, I don't. Like I said, it's absolutely not an exact science. It totally just comes down to
27 seconds.
Yeah, you're only allowed 9.5 minutes of happiness in a movie. Otherwise, I'm going to start to get suspicious. It's totally
life is not that happy.
Yeah, and it's not even. I don't even think it's a writing thing. I think it's literally just a matter of like, it's just an editing thing. I think of like just like trimming as much as you can possibly trim, and this one leaves a little bit too much, and I'd rather there be a little bit too much than not enough, because if there's not enough, then I'm just going to be like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. So, like, obviously I'd rather be on the side if there being a little bit too much, but, and again, like, I'm not an editor, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is exactly what you should cut, but just, like, generally speaking, like, as much as you can get into that Goldilocks zone, the better. But, obviously, you know, I understand, like, we need to set up this relationship to be happy. I think the other thing, though, that might have helped would be, because it wasn't just the relationship that was going really well, it was just sort of like one of those things where like it was like the raindrops keep falling on my head from Spider-Man 2. I'm just like, everything's working out.
There's our Sam Raimi reference for the episode.
Everything's working out, guys. Like, everything in my life is getting better, and it's like, if we maybe just focused on the relationship. But when, like, when it's, like, rising tide lifts all ships, I'm like, okay.
What else was going right in her life? She didn't have many pieces.
That's a great question.
Her life was just her job, her parents, and then him. Like, there was no one else. And nothing changed in her job, and she didn't move out.
Sorry to interrupt. We didn't mention Mr. Krabs in
yes!
the movie, too.
Clancy Brown, right?
Yeah, and... What was the name?
I know her name.
His wife, but we've seen her in like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
it's like
great
casting,
very good
like
casting.
Cameos. Yeah,
absolutely love them.
Anyway, go on.
To answer your question, Carol, I don't remember because it's been a little bit since I saw it. It's been a few weeks. I just remember watching it and going like, "What else could go right?" You know what I mean? I was like, "There's no way that this is all happening right now." But like, it's totally possible that I'm just bringing my own bias of hating that thing that happens, and so like I'm inflating it in my head. I would have to watch it again to like specifically point out.
I would say you probably just think everything was going right because like the relationship was like out of a fairy tale perfect almost, but like because like there really aren't that, like her life doesn't involve much. So
was there like a montage? Like, I don't even remember. Was there like a montage?
There is like a love montage set to Paris Hilton's song, and like they say they're falling in love with each other. He says he's going to buy her a bike. Like, they have dinner with her parents.
Yeah, it is mostly... I just watched it last night, and as far as I remember, it was pretty much just, like, the success with her relationship.
Yeah. Then maybe it was just
Jennifer
the fact that it was in a
Coolidge.
montage.
Sorry, that's her name.
Jennifer
that's
Coolidge.
the-
I didn't
yeah,
even look
yeah,
it up.
yeah,
It
yeah,
came
yeah.
to me before I typed it out.
Nice. Before you got to the answer.
Yes. Sorry, I totally cut you guys off.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a moot point. Like, everyone gets my point.
Yes.
But, like, maybe it's even just it being in a montage in and of itself. Like, second act, I'm happy montages are kind of silly to me. But, like, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, the point is, I get it. I get why it has to be in there. And for the most part, it's very enjoyable. I would be curious to, like, completely erase my memory and watch this without knowing the twist and see if it stuck out to me, or if maybe it stuck out to me just because I knew
What was coming?
there was a twist, and so I was like, this is the part before the twist, because I knew there was a twist coming. I don't know.
That's fair.
That's,
Speaking of the Bo Burnham twist and like knowing that it was in the movie, but not knowing what it was, I was worried because like they keep alluding to him being a pediatrician.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I was like, is he going to be turned out to be like a pedophile?
that would have been really dark. Jesus
Yeah, it's
Christ.
like, wow.
Yeah, totally out of left field because it's not related to the main story.
Yeah, just because
at all.
like I said, I knew there was a Bo Burnham twist
Yeah.
going in. Anyway.
Man,
Yeah.
it's really sent your mind to dark places.
Well, because they keep
They
at
do
the
show
date,
that. Yeah.
They keep mentioning. They make a point of mentioning that he's like a child doctor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, thankfully not that bad. It's not as.
I mean, I
it's
don't know
not
if there's-
as bad,
we
I
can-
guess.
No, but okay, so can we talk about the twist?
Yeah.
sure, why not?
Because this was another thing that I think we're talking about being tastefully done. Like, obviously, compared to Adam Brody and McLovin, who I'm just calling everyone by whatever I know them by. I don't
Totally
know
fine.
character names. So, like, those two are very explicitly, like, shitty and rapey.
But
If
even
that, like-
so, I know we're talking about how tasteful it is, so I'm just going to sprinkle this in there. There's never any nudity. They never say the words
Nope.
rape or sexual assault in the whole movie.
No, exactly. Yeah. But, like, their intentions are very, like,
Yeah.
explicitly shitty. And then I think the nice thing about the Bo Burnham twist was the idea of having the twist not be something that's necessarily explicitly shitty, as more as, like implicitly, like, you were involved in something and, like, didn't do the right thing.
It's
or,
like looking at like
be a
different
good
types
person.
of guilt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and that is nice. Because also for his character, I think it would have been a bad turn if it was like he had just like straight up raped somebody.
Yeah.
Do you know
Because
what
it
I
would've been
mean?
too similar
it
to
would
the other ones?
It would have been too similar, and also it's like I don't know if I buy like this guy as being that guy, but I buy this guy as being a very selfish, like, I'm not going to get involved and I just want my life to be perfect guy.
Well, especially since because we see him earlier in the film, like, take her by his house by quote unquote coincidence.
Yeah.
And then the second she
Yeah.
has any hesitation, even though she verbally agrees to go up, she's like, oh no, I can tell you're not into it. Like, never mind, I take it back. Like, so seeing like him act as a decent man, like, yeah, having him do anything more explicit would go totally against his character as we know it. Although, like, I do believe that people can like learn the difference between like consent and like non-consent, and like you can like make mistakes at that age. So like I guess he could have been a man who raped someone and then learned to not do that anymore, but it would be hard to write that into the story believably.
Well, yeah, I think like what you're saying, it's not like obviously in real life, like, yeah, but in a condensed, how long is this movie? 2 hours?
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard concept to get across, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where it would have been, yeah, so it's like better to have him be more like implicitly sort of like selfish and not do the right thing, but still then be like have to be held accountable for that. And then like the great part of the twist is like when she tries to call him out on it, his immediate heel turn to be like a defensive asshole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where I was like, yup.
Literally.
I know so many people like that. Like, yup, I get that. I totally get that.
That's the thing that
like when there's nothing to
really
gain
got
for
me.
him anymore.
Yeah, like it wasn't when I say that I was still like they still got me with the bow thing. It was in that specific moment because like the fact that he was in the tape didn't really surprise me because like that does make sense, especially since he's like, yeah, like I hung out with those guys, I still kind of hang out with those guys. That didn't totally shock me. It was when she started questioning him about it, and he immediately was like, "Oh, so you're a saint." I was like, "Oh no, he is trash."
Yeah, and then she threatened to like get his like doctor's license revoked, and he's like, "Oh, so we'll both be like failures."
Yeah.
Then. Wow.
It's just
the immediate defensiveness.
stereotypical like lashing out. Men can't take any negative emotion and have to change the narrative immediately to take the focus off of them. It was so disappointing.
I had a note. So when we first when he coincidentally goes to his apartment, that scene, like I made a note. I was just like, God damn it, Bo Burnham. And then it gets like resolved, and they have like a good relationship for most of the movie. And then that final twist at the end, I had another note that said, God damn it, Bo Burnham. It's like, and again, like I said, I knew that something was coming with Bo Burnham, but it was very sad.
It is very sad.
Very disappointing.
It is very sad because it's almost like you want, like, to your point, Carol, like when the twist first happens, it's like, yeah, not surprising necessarily that he, like, it is, but at the same time, as soon as it happens, it's kind of like, yeah, like I could see him being there. But there is that moment of like when she goes to confront him about it, that like maybe he could try to be like, no, like I've changed, and I'd like to like redeem myself. And yeah, it's that doubling down on it where it's that's the
even him
like,
initially trying to say he like didn't remember or he wasn't there, and then you hear his voice and just the look of like shame on his face.
Totally.
I also found that reveal cool of like just immediately recognizing his voice when we first hear the tape, because like we said, they don't show it, which is for the best. And that was
it's also cool because like you get to see her reaction to the reveal, you know, so it's like it's better than seeing the reveal,
and her reaction tells you everything.
Yes.
Like it's obviously
It's a smart choice, and it's like such a great way to get around what we were talking about with Wind River, where it's like, how do you get across the emotion of it without having to do it in like a gratuitous way? And it's like, well, yeah, like that's how you do it. Like, yeah.
Well, even just her performance, like now that we're like talking about it, was so good. Like her reacting to watching the video for the first time and just like breaking down, or even like her having to act drunk, because like that's notoriously really difficult. Like just what a performance. I don't remember if she won an Oscar. I have notes somewhere, but
I don't think
she was definitely nominated. I know. Okay, no, they won Best Original Screenplay, and then they were just nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Film Editing.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Sorry, what year was this again?
20
something.
2020.
I think it was supposed to come out January, or like it premiered at Sundance January 2020 or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and then they delayed theatrical release until December 2020.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
So,
that
very
sounds
new.
That sounds right.
Which is also why I gave the warning up top that if you haven't seen it, to watch it, because it's not like it's been out forever. Everyone's probably seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about next?
Okay, I have a note, and again, just jumping around, but I found it really cool leading up to her going to the bachelor party, how the score like reworked the song Toxic by Britney Spears into like a creepy thriller type thing.
But that's also what made the trailer seem like a slasher, because they used that song.
Was that used? I have to be honest, I didn't see the trailer. I didn't see any trailer for this.
Okay.
So that was used in the trailer then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought, just seeing it or hearing it in the movie, that was like so inventive.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It's cool. And it is that thing of like, it's so unfortunate when like so much, or I don't know, maybe it's on purpose, but like when a lot of the marketing materials is focusing on stuff like from the third act, when it's like we've built to that point so we understand what's happening, whereas if you just see that out of context, you're like, is this a slasher movie? Like, what is this? But yeah, like when you build to that and then you get that, it's very narratively satisfying, I feel like. satisfying. Yeah, very cool. But I do remember in the trailer you get that scene of her pretending to be drunk, right? And then it's like, what are you doing? Like, because she's not drunk. Yeah. And just that reveal, too, was also like, oh, this is cool. I don't know what this is, but it's cool.
I was a little... Okay, because the scene where, with Adam Brody, she's, like, pretending to be drunk, saying, what are you doing? And then she, like, looks up at the camera and then says it soberly and then sits up. They use that in the trailer. And to me, that is the sickest shot in the whole film. Like, I get chills every time it happens. Yeah. And so, like, I understand why it was put in the marketing, but, like, also if it wasn't, seeing that for the first time just in the context of the film would have been so good.
Like so many things. Yes, like so many things. It's, like, obviously, like, understandable that they would use it, but it's also, like, it would be cool to see that for the first time.
But just speaking of the rendition of Toxic... when Carey Mulligan was cast, because she was the first person cast, Emerald sent her a playlist that would set the mood for the film, and she put Toxic on it twice, because she just is a Britney stan and thinks it's the best song ever written. So that's why it was used in the movie.
Nice. That's cool.
Which, like, I get it. It's a great song.
It is a great song. I dig that.
Carol, you were talking about your favorite shot in the movie.
Yeah.
I think mine was, and again, I don't know if this is used in the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer, but it's at the bachelor party when they're upstairs, and Al says something about like he doesn't say these words exactly, but getting canceled is like the worst fear for a man or something.
Yeah.
And then there's this center frame shot on her, and she's like, do you know what the worst fear for a woman is? And it's just, that was like really badass. That was cool.
Also in the trailer.
Oh, okay. Well,
classic movie trailer. Yeah.
Well, the trailer was interesting. I guess we can kind of talk about it. I know you haven't seen it, Dan, but I rewatched it because one of the messages Marco sent me after watching this film was like, this was totally different from the marketing, as he alluded to before in this episode.
Yeah.
But I also forgot the trailer, so I went back and watched it when I was doing my research for this episode, and I found it interesting how, like, the first half of the trailer was all just, like, different cut clips of her luring the various men. So there was just, like, the three of them, three including, I think his name is Sam Richardson? Is the third guy in the hat who she didn't end up going home with because she saw Beau. But it was clips of her with, like, the three men, the two she actually went home with, and one she almost did. And then the last half just showed a lot of shots from, like, her revenge. So, like, her randomly sitting with Alison Brie, and then, like, her in the dean's office. And, like, since you didn't really know the story about Nina and med school, like, seeing clips from then the second part of the specific plan kind of, like, confused things, because it was like, if the trailer's making you think she's going on this murdering, why can't I say that? Anyway, spree. But it gets twisted when you just then see her, like, in a dean's office and, like, at a like, in a stripper costume. So I don't know what they were thinking with that, because it doesn't tell a linear story. It just kind of confuses things. I would probably just keep it to either the first half and then just have the actual backstory be a total surprise, which people would probably be mad at because they would definitely think they were walking into a totally different film. But I think it's better than, like, the convoluted, like, mismatch they did, because, like, without the context, it was just, like, random shots.
Agreed. I also just think, like, I don't know how to sell this movie in a trailer because it very much is a drama.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
And sometimes it's a rom-com.
Yeah, like, there's so many different things going on, and, like, when you watch it in the movie, it's like, oh, this all fits together, but it's not like anything else. You know how, like, there's, like, you know, there's so many different trailer formulas. Like, it's like, okay, like, every Star Wars trailer has, like, a formula. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like, you know, it's like the whole thing, okay? But, like, what formula do you apply to this? Like, you can't really apply a drama formula to this, because I think it, like, sells it short of what it actually is. So then you try to throw in like Carol saying, like some of the stuff at the beginning to make it seem like a suspense thriller. And it's like, oh, but that's not really what this is either. And so you just end up with kind of a trailer where it's like, what is this movie? Like, does she kill people? Does she not? Like, what's happening?
But I also think the vagueness of the trailer is possibly maybe what helped garner interest in it.
Yeah.
Because you want to find out what is this movie, you know? It unfortunately, like the first other movie that comes to mind like that was Mother. I was excited to see Mother because the trailer was so vague. This is like the good version of like the movie actually turning out to be good from a vague trailer.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I didn't see the trailer in this case, but if I had, that can help a lot of the times in just like garnering interest, but you have to back it up with an actual movie that turns out to be entertaining. And this one, it does.
It wasn't
go the Mother route. Yeah.
Should we talk about Mother again one day? Just like revisit it? Mother Revisited?
Because then I have to watch it again.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
I want to talk about the twist of... So, when we get into the acts, I didn't know how to feel about her setting up Alison Brie with a guy.
Yes.
But then I really liked the twist later that he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, that was worrying me. That was the one thing that was, like, worrying me throughout the plot from that point on. So I appreciated that she didn't just flat out set up this drunk woman with a guy for revenge.
Yeah.
And then furthermore, I started to catch on when we got to, I think it was the second one with the dean, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that was that was the second one. Because during that conversation, I was like, wow, how can... I mean, I understand what happened to her and her past, but how can she, like, hand over this high school student to a bunch of guys, and then it turns out she was never with them to begin with? And I was like, wow, that was really smart. And
well, that's what happens the whole time. Is it makes it seem like she's doing like really harmful things, but in reality, it's always... I don't know if I want to say innocent, but she doesn't hurt anyone.
It's like
physically.
A fake out. It's a fake out to get them to be like, oh, now you think this is a big deal, but you didn't when it happened to Nina, right?
Yeah, well...
Yeah, she's teaching them a lesson.
That's the thing. Just getting people to see her point of view, which she, like, I think says word for word at some point, because it is really frustrating. Like, yeah, I guess we brought it up. The scene with the dean was so annoying, because, first of all, she brings up, like, the incident that happened, and the dean faking, like, disgust, being like, oh my gosh, who did you talk to? And then her being like, oh, she talked to you, and you threw the case out because there wasn't enough evidence, even though there was a room of people watching, and later on a video. Another thing I don't understand is how earlier on Alison Brie was able to be like, oh, of course we didn't believe her, like, she just always drank a lot and always slept around, but she had the video and watched the video, and so that I don't understand, how people were just able to, erase that from their minds after watching it. I guess that's the one unbelievable thing about the movie.
Yeah, unless she was lying.
Like, I guess, but I don't know. She seemed like she really believed that she didn't believe Nina. I don't know. But anyway, that was really annoying to hear. And then, like, the dean being like, can't ruin this man's life. He's such a good student. He just gave a presentation. Ugh. And how they get so many cases a year. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
This movie's so good.
Very good. It is very good. Yeah, I mean, but like we talked about with all these, like... Yeah, like, it's always... It's good that it doesn't ever get to the point of her actually doing anything, I guess, like, I don't want to say evil, but, like, actually harming anyone. Like, she's never actually harming anyone, which also, like we talked about with the ending, it's why the ending would have been so weird if she did actually, like...
Kill the guy?
You know what I mean? Because it would have been like, so you never did, and then now you did, and we're, like... Such a betrayal of, like, what this movie was.
What was she planning to do with Alfred Molina?
So, okay, this is like a major question of mine, because I love everything about the Alfred Molina scene.
Yeah.
Top of that list being the fact that Alfred Molina's in it.
Period.
Just made me so happy. Yeah, just trying to do better.
He doesn't even say that line.
But, like, he is trying to do better.
Yeah.
So, like, it's Spider-Man to him. But, like, everything about it is so great. I felt like, because one of the things just in life that I feel like comes up a lot is the idea of, like, oh, what? Like, people can't make mistakes and, like, you can't, like, learn from your mistakes and grow or whatever. Like, everyone's just supposed to be perfect all the time. Is, like, the excuse often thrown around by shitty people. And I think it was very cool to have a scene where you show, like, no, like, it is possible to realize you made a mistake and, like, try and repent from that and be a better person. But that's not, like, an easy thing. It's, like, it's not just as easy as you saying, yeah, I get it. Like, Alfred Molina is clearly, like, very distressed
Well, he had a
from the mistakes.
psychotic break and was on his forced sabbatical.
Exactly, which is an extreme, but, like, an extreme, I think, to get the point across of, like, it's not just enough to say that you get it.
Yeah.
Like, you can change, but it requires a lot of, like, introspection. So I really, really like that, because it just, like, it happens at just the right time in the movie, too, to, like, answer that question to anyone that's going to be annoying about it. Of, like, so nobody can grow? It's like, no, you can. Look. Like, here's an example. Here's an example of how you can, like...
The person who did grow was also the one who, like, defended probably hundreds of rapists. So, like, arguably, he also, like, did the most, like, harm for the longest period of time. So that's, like, why he was able to learn.
Yes, and that's also why I think it was important that he straight up had a psychotic break. Because it's like if he just made one mistake, I think you could show him growing from that without going to that extreme. But, like, because this was his profession and he did it for so long, it's like, okay, to show that he came back from that, like, he really needed to suffer through something. Otherwise, he wouldn't buy it.
And I also like how at the start of that scene, he's like, he says something like, I've been expecting you for a while.
Yeah.
And then later in the scene, she's like, do you want me to hurt you? He's like, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, even she was so thrown off guard that she ended up just forgiving him.
Yeah. And calling off the hitman.
Yes. So that, though, is at the end of this incredible scene. I'm like, wow, what a great, awesome scene to answer this question for people and to, like, really set the stakes of what this movie is. And then there was just a hitman. And I, like, is that a hitman? Like, she was going to kill him, right? Like,
we don't know if he was going to be sent to kill him. Maybe just to, like, threaten him or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We also find out later that she needs him, whether he agreed or not in that scene, she would need him later to when she sends the evidence of the tape.
Yeah.
So she would need him to comply either way. Maybe that's what that was foreshadowing.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
We don't really know.
Interesting.
Canonically,
Hopefully,
probably, because, like, it would be weird for her to go out of her way to not hurt anyone and then be like, no, actually, this guy.
And also, why would she want to kill him if she would need him later, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. So it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So but it was jarring when there was just, like, this hitman, and I was like, holy shit!
Although
like, what the fuck?
Another thing that was jarring is, I guess, the only time we did see her violent is when she fell asleep at the wheel and then went at that guy's car with the tire iron.
Right.
That was good. That was random,
He deserved it, though.
but I felt great watching her do that.
She just hurt the car anyway. She didn't even hurt. I was expecting her to, like, I would have been fine with him, like, or her whacking him with the thing anyway. Like, not killing him, but just, like, hitting him with it.
Yeah.
He was a dick anyway.
Wow,
I think that was
turning you guys
fine.
to violence. I've never seen this side of you guys.
Well, I mean, he deserved to have his taillights destroyed and his windshield.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to be clear, I've always been fine with violence. This movie did not turn me to violence.
I guess we've never
I think
discussed.
we should just... Yeah, I am totally fine with shitty people being brutally beat to a pulp. Okay, I mean,
it's the Batman rule.
It's the Batman rule. Just don't kill them.
Yeah.
But you can really hurt
you don't
them.
have to save them.
You definitely don't have to save them.
I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
What other notes do you guys have?
Oh, this is a really minor thing, but in the McLovin scene, when he was rubbing, like, coke on her in her lips.
Yeah.
I was like, please bite him.
Oh my God.
Just please.
I know.
bite his
It was
fingers.
so
This
weird.
guy's
Yeah.
Insufferable.
Also, like, what's McLovin been doing since
I
being
don't know.
McLovin in this movie?
He was in Kick-Ass 1 and 2,
Okay.
and that's all I know about.
In my headcanon, I like to imagine that, like, this is just McLovin as an adult now. Like, it's just him from Superbad
It
as an
honestly
adult.
could be.
He's still using a fake ID.
Yeah, he's exactly. Like, he's just, like, he's not even a real person. He's just, like, a coke addict.
Oh my goodness.
I also have I had a note on there of just, I mean, we've talked about it briefly already, but just how uncomfortable that initial scene in the bar is before we have any other, like, before this is the first time we've seen a scene like that in the movie where she's just, like, still pretending to be drunk, and that's before you realize that she isn't actually. So, and either way, it's just like, wow, this is very, very uncomfortable to watch, but also, like, I see why this is the perfect place to start the movie.
Yeah.
And it was also very well shot.
Very well
I mean,
shot.
the whole movie was
Also,
well shot.
shout
but,
out to that like very opening scene with the men in like pants and tucked in shirts, all like
Oh, yeah, the montage.
gyrating, dancing to "Boys" by Charlie XCX. It was so good.
Very good.
I forgot to make a note, but I love that. Yeah, that was funny.
I remember reading a fact. I don't know if you have this or not, Carol, in your research, but that I guess the first scene, like the opening scene, was the first thing that like Emerald had like come up with, like conceptually, was like just the idea of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like a guy thought a woman was drunk, basically, but then it turns out that like she's sober, and just like that concept in that opening scene, and then was like, okay, like how do I like make this into a movie, and like that's where the whole movie kind of came from.
Yeah, and on that note, just like back to again, like to the McLovin scene again, just that turn of when he finds out that she's sober and suddenly wants nothing to do with her.
Yeah,
Like that says it all. Really.
100%.
Well, even like him saying "I'm a good guy" and then her asking like,
Insisting.
"What is my name?" and he doesn't even know that much. Oh, so good. And even like
very
the
good.
set decoration for these men's apartments were perfect. Like McLovin had like the beaded like doorway, and like
Yeah.
I think there was a dream catcher on his door. Like it was all just so perfect.
Agreed. Yeah, it's just great. Like every element of this movie really comes together in a very nice way. Like it's you might say it's just a good movie. You know, I know we don't see a lot of those anymore, but this is just one of those movies where it's like the music and the acting and the directing and the writing and the set decoration, cinematography, everything's just good and it all just works together.
Still can't
you know?
believe this was her first feature.
Synergistically.
Like that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I mean, before
Yeah.
you guys mentioned it.
it's insane.
Although she did, sorry, just more fun facts. She did have a short film that she wrote and directed that premiered at Sundance, I think in like 2018, called Careful How You Go, which is the book that Cassie is reading in one of the scenes at the coffee shop.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But the short film that she had at Sundance starred Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Just wanted to mention that because I love her, and it was about
Fun.
It was about a similar topic. I copied a little synopsis because it sounded interesting, and it sounded almost like a test run of this in a way.
Right.
Because it was about different ways in which women can be frightening and malevolent. The premise is kind of how you can ruin a stranger's life without touching them or threatening them or doing anything sinister. So it seems like she really likes to write about that. And so she made a mini movie about it. Apparently that short is just 3 stories, like 3 different short stories put together.
Nice.
So I'd be interested to watch it. I don't know where I can. So I didn't, which is why I just have that vague description. But it seems
Nice.
like it would be good if it's just like the precursor to this great film we got.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any work between her and Phoebe Waller-Bridge would be
honestly.
something to see.
Oh, well, also, Speaking of, and another reason you guys should watch this show, Emerald Fennell is a writer and producer on Killing Eve, which is another show that Phoebe Waller-Bridge writes. That is.
Okay, I thought you were gonna bring up Ted Lasso again.
No, although that's also good, but Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Emerald Fennell are not at all involved in that one. Just making that clear.
Nice. I didn't know she worked on Killing Eve. That's
I
cool.
didn't either until I was doing my research.
Yeah.
And even though I've watched all of Killing Eve.
Do we know if she has like projects coming up soon that are in production, or?
I didn't look into that, but that's a wonderful question, Dan.
So she's an actress too.
Oh.
She was in The Crown.
Yes, I was just gonna say she's in The Crown. She plays Camilla, but I think they're like, so every 2 seasons The Crown like recasts because they like jump eras basically. So I think her era's done now. Like I think we're on to like the next season they're gonna recast again. So I don't think is gonna be in the show anymore. I've also only seen 1 season and it was just the most recent one because it was about Princess Diana stuff. So like I'm not an avid Crown watcher for people who are like, why the fuck does Marco know about this show? But I did watch the most recent one, and she was in it as Camilla. So then, it was cool to be like, okay, this is the lady that wrote and directed Promising Young Woman. Nice.
She also had a little acting cameo in this film. She was the YouTuber who was doing the blowjob lip tutorial.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I do remember that, yeah.
Also, I looked it up, and on IMDb, it just says there is an Untitled Emerald Fennell movie in pre-production with no date. So,
I'm sure Marvel's going to buy her.
Will happen eventually.
Buy her?
Marvel's going to be like, come make a movie for us, and then she will. And it'll just be like every the classic Marvel move of just scooping up a young talent and making them make an MCU movie.
Okay, I did want to talk about one other thing.
Okay.
Because this film is about what it is about, a lot of the reviews cite, like, Me Too, like, this is, like, the movie of the Me Too era, and yada, yada, yada. So, when you look at then reviews of the film, I feel like a lot of them were afraid to say something bad, because so many of the reviews started by saying how this is about the Me Too era, and like as we talked about how like crazy we're at right now with cancel culture, to the point where I don't remember who, for the Los Angeles Times, no, that's something else, in Variety, Dennis Harvey just said like Carey Mulligan did a good job, but it seems like her casting was incorrect. Like, she essentially saying, like, she wasn't hot enough for the role. And when she was, like, dressed up to go out, it looked like she was putting on drag. And then, because of what this movie was about, everyone then, like, hated on him in his review. And he had to, like, take it back. And so I feel like, I don't know if I can trust anyone's opinion of this film. Like, not like you guys, you know what I mean? But, like, any written and published review, I feel like everyone, or at least, like, men who review it, I guess, probably weren't giving unfiltered reviews. You know what I mean?
But also, like, that
and
was
it's also
just
like
a
that's
shitty
not
review.
the point. It was a shitty review, but also like that's not the point
that
of
one
the
in particular.
movie.
Yeah,
it's not like censor yourself now and like don't have opinions, or also like don't comment on the appearance of women. Also, I don't know if you know, but Margot Robbie's production company produced this film.
I saw her name at the front.
Yeah, and so one other thing that guy said, he's like, it seems like this role was actually written for Margot Robbie. And I was like, okay, that's not true.
I mean, like, she probably would have been good in the role, but also, like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand.
I don't know. I didn't see any problem with Carrie.
No, she was great. But, I don't know. That's such a weird...
I know.
I don't know. That's so weird.
But it was just a weird, frustrating rabbit hole to get into, because, like, I was just trying to find, like, some fun research about the film and, like, behind the scenes and how it was made, and then it's like controversies about reviews, and I was like, come on, guys.
So, like, this is interesting, and like I don't want to derail It's related to the episode, I guess. But, like, I just feel like this has been happening a lot with, like, pretty much any movie lately. Like, I have a really hard time now, with the exception of, like, Red Letter Media, who just don't give a shit. And, like, you can tell they're just fucking around the way we are, and they just talk about stuff. But, like, outside of review content like that, like, any legitimate film criticism in, like, articles or whatever, I have an exceptionally hard time watching now, because it's all informed by something, and everyone is scared. And I don't mean in the way of, like, not in the way of, like, nobody can say anything anymore, and, like, how are we ever gonna, like, what do you mean Joe Rogan can't have Ben Shapiro on his show? Like, not in that way, but just in the way of, like, even with DC movies, it's like right now Peacemaker is the show James Gunn is making, which is, like, the #1 watch most streaming show, and then on the other side of it, it is getting absolutely annihilated by Snyder fans because Zack Snyder isn't getting to make more DC stuff.
And it's just, like, the complete opposite tone.
Yeah, and it's just not that. So because of that, it's either, like, a 5-star or a 1-star. And it's just, like, I feel like everything is skewing more and more like that now, where, like, you just can't talk about, like, I can't talk about Star Wars with people because it's like, what did you think about The Last Jedi? And I'm like, I don't know, it's fine. Like, I don't have to either be like, are you Team Rian Johnson or JJ? Like, can I not be team someone? Can I just, like, say I like some stuff and didn't? Do you know what I mean? Like, even with this, like we had this conversation right now, we're like, yeah, I think it's a great movie. I don't like everything is great in the middle part, but, like, obviously, like, we're just normal people that can talk about stuff. But this movie aside, like, just with everything now, just everything I find is, like, there's literally, like, no matter what you say, there's, like, a but actually person that's just gonna, like, try to dunk on you. Everything is about, like, dunking. You know, it's like,
well, you know what it is everyone's trying to prove that they know more about the thing they're talking about than the other person.
It's so true.
It is, like, you have a very good point. Like, politics or not, whatever movie you're talking about, you can love it or hate it, but you can't do anything in between.
You can't.
See,
you absolutely can't.
Everything on my Letterboxd is, like, 3 stars. So I am a very middle person.
And that's fine.
And that's normal.
Like,
that's normal. Yes.
Like, you brought up Last Jedi. That's not a perfect movie. It's also not an awful movie.
No, it's just a movie.
It's fine.
It exists. It's like, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be, like, but yeah, and I don't know what it is. It's like this weird thing that's happened. It's like sports culture is now being applied to everything, where you have to, like, have a team that you root for. Like, you have to root for Zack Snyder's DC movies, and then, like, obviously this new Batman movie coming out that objectively looks great, but there are, like, Zack Snyder fans that are like, well, actually no, because, like, Snyder is DC god, and, like, I only root for Zack Snyder stuff. And it's like, so you don't even care then about the quality of movies. You are literally just, like,
following a guy
the way that I would, like, I don't care about hockey, but I'm just, like, a quote-unquote Leafs fan because everyone in my family likes the Maple Leafs. So, like, if hockey's on,
of the players on the team,
yeah, I don't give a shit about hockey, but I'm like, yeah, I root for the Leafs. That's what I root for. And, like, with sports, I feel like you can do that because it doesn't matter. Like, it literally is about winning. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a actual competition.
That's what that whole industry is based on.
Movies are not a competition. Like, it's an art form. Can you imagine going into, like, a gallery and being like, this painting is my painting, and I'm gonna root for this painting? Like, no.
I feel like that one, I can't be friends with you.
I can't be friends with you, yeah. And also, like, if someone else likes another painting, it's like, well, that's not made by the artist that made my painting, so it has to be bad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry
for that tangent.
That's okay.
But, like,
I invited it.
It's just... it's very frustrating because, yeah, with this movie, and, like, we talked about, I think on the last episode, where about Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it's like, I don't like that show, but now that means...
Not for the reasons that racists didn't like that.
Yes, now that means that if I ever wanted to review stuff online, my review would be lumped in with a bunch of racist idiots.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's no way. I don't know.
All right.
I mean, yeah, I think that was a bit off topic, but yeah, it's a good point as well. Because that was last episode that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's all just the same thing. Like, you can't enjoy anything. You can't research into anything without it devolving into an angry battle
Yeah.
of people, as if it's Lord of the Rings, you know, as if like everything is like some treacherous journey, and it's like I just want to look at, like Carol said, like I just want to look up facts on this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to hear what people like. Just tell me what you think. It's fine. It's fine. You can not like it. It's okay.
But a fun fact I did
know?
find, just to bring it back, is that Bo Burnham actually drank Carey Mulligan's spit when she spat in the coffee.
Seriously? Why?
I don't know why, but they did.
I mean, like, it's not like...
It was a pre-COVID time, you know?
Well, sure, but I mean, it's not like we could have been able to tell either way, or it would have affected the shot.
That was like so easy to cut around. There was no need for that.
There was even a cut. Like,
there was a cut. Yeah, there's literally no need for that.
Well, he did it. Oh my god.
That's a weird fact.
Yeah.
I kind of love it.
I mean, it's funny, but like...
Well, because like...
Yeah, I have a question.
If they had to cut and switch out the cups, it changes the whole, like, energy of the scene, you know?
But they do cut in the scene, don't they? In
Yeah.
between her handing him the cup and him drinking?
Camera angles, like it could just be them. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I guess.
I wasn't there. I didn't watch any behind the scenes footage. Sorry, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems unnecessary.
It's just funny because watching that scene last night, I was like, just as like an aspiring editor, I was like, oh, okay, so that was cut probably mainly because they had to switch out the cup.
No.
And he would, because obviously he's not going to drink this other person's spit in real life.
But he did.
So it's funny to find out that he did. I have a question though, and this will kind of shift the tone a little bit. Sorry, but I don't remember how recently it was, but there was a case of I think he was in college. Some guy, like, he was on trial for rape. And he got off,
Brock Turner?
Notoriously easily.
Yeah, Brock Turner.
Yes. Was that before or after this? Because I feel like it could have
before,
heavily...
And...
Did that have any influence on this movie?
Yes. Yeah, actually. Good that you mentioned it, because it's one of my quote-unquote fun facts.
Oh, okay.
Because, the Brock Turner case, Brock Turner raped Chanel Miller at a frat party when she was completely unconscious, and she was rescued by like 2 foreign exchange students before he could like get inside of her. So thank God. But yeah, he got off in 6 months after 6 months of jail time because the judge just thought he was a promising young man, quote unquote. And that he didn't deserve more jail time because he was such a great swimmer and student. So God forbid he goes to jail for longer than half a year. So that's probably why this film was called Promising Young Woman.
Well, that's a fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a fun, yeah. I mean, depressing that happened in real life, but like...
Chanel Miller
just
wrote
the
a really
fact that
good
it was
memoir called Know My Name about
Okay.
like the whole like case and situation, and I read it, and it's also really good.
Good.
Interesting. I did not know that there was literally a quote of promising young man. Like, that has to be... There's no way that's not a direct reference, right?
Yeah.
No, it is a direct reference.
Damn.
Yeah.
I definitely see, like, I saw the influence in the movie. That's why I had to ask.
Yeah, I feel like specifically like the Dean scene and a lot of the language probably mostly
that especially.
reflects what was said, and thought about the situation. But yeah, do we have any more general topics we want to talk about?
I have a fun game we can play.
Okay.
Do we all want to go around and everyone say their least favorite man?
Oh, sure.
Yes,
Ever?
can we do that
Fictional,
every day?
fictional,
for every
real.
movie?
Could be someone we know.
I thought you meant in the
say it
movie.
could be someone we
No.
know?
In life. No, it can be someone we know. It can be a celebrity. It can be a fictional character.
that's interesting.
Just in the universe.
Oh wow!
I know mine.
There's so many
I know
options.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Yeah, Jared Leto.
Oh.
Like, didn't even have to think about it. Dude has like a cult.
Yeah.
Also untalented. Also, I hate him. Also, he ruins Everything he's in.
There's a new
I hate
show
him.
coming out called, like, I don't even know, but it's about, like, a fictional, like, Facebook, Google-esque company called WeWork. And I don't know who he's in it with, but it's like an Apple TV series, and he has another horrible accent similar to the one he had in House of Gucci, and it looks insane.
He is just the worst.
And I feel like he
He's
also
the
has like some
worst.
facial prosthetics on again. I don't know why he always has to transform so much for every role he's in. You know what I mean?
I hate him.
It's because he thinks he's brave by like putting on ugly makeup because he's so like
Pretty.
meticulously handsome or whatever.
Yeah. Like, he angers me. His existence.
I thought of my
I
least
can't wait for him to
favorite
like
man.
retire.
Jeff
Okay,
Bezos. Also easily.
Oh, that's a
That's
good
an
one.
easy one.
Just the
Yeah.
thought of him makes my blood boil.
Understandable.
I'd probably say like Harvey Weinstein or something.
Also
Yeah.
a good answer.
Also
Did you
a
guys
good
see there
answer.
is a new 4-part documentary about not Harvey Weinstein, but Bill Cosby? I saw that on
Oh, no.
Crave
Where is
today. Must be brand new.
Oh, we can do another round of this if you guys like, but I would also throw Woody Allen in there.
Do we have to just say one? Can we just say like
Let's just
people
say
that
a
we
bunch.
have a problem
Give
with?
off a
Yeah,
list.
Woody Allen sucks. Obviously, sketch.
That's fair. Donald Trump. Another one.
Sure.
I was gonna, yeah, and also Mike Pence has such a punchable face.
Oh my
God.
god, yeah. Ted Cruz also does it for me. In the like hating way,
Yeah.
not the sexual way.
Oh, the guy. Wait, have you seen Eternals yet?
No, but just say it.
Okay, it's not a spoiler or anything, but and it's also this is nothing political, but there's the guy in Eternals. I think his name is Druig or something.
Yeah.
Who also has just a really punchable face for no reason.
Yeah, I know
I'm
who
sure
you're-
he's a fine guy.
He
I know who you're
always
talking
plays
about,
bad
and-
people though. I feel so bad.
Oh, I think he also is rumored to play the Joker in.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. He's in the Batman. He is cast in the Batman. That's
Oh.
confirmed.
Wait,
But-
this one?
Yeah,
Oh shit.
but he is rumored to be this universe's Joker, which we'll get into, I'm sure, in our video. But like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he's punchable, so maybe that's a good thing because I want Batman to punch the
Yeah.
Joker, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Also Miles Teller.
Ooh, interesting. Why? Did he
Damn,
do something bad?
No, he
No,
doesn't.
no, he
has
also
a
just has
punchable
punchable
face. He has a punchable
I'm
face.
sure he's a good guy. I don't want to like.
Yeah.
Casey
Slander
Affleck
him.
also
Oh,
makes me
fuck
Yeah,
Casey
that's
Affleck.
definitely justified.
Yeah.
Sketch. I'm like blanking. There's so many, but like I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, obviously,
Yeah.
and also Jesse Eisenberg. I'll just put him
Yeah,
in with Mark.
no.
They're
Oh,
like
and
the same
also,
person to me.
What's his name? Sean Parker. Because he's a creep.
Yep. Okay, fair enough.
Also Justin Timberlake after watching the Britney documentary.
Yeah, sure. Actually, isn't he anti-vax?
Is he
Is he?
Him and his what's his wife? His wife's
the
name?
one from BoJack
Yeah.
Horseman?
Jessica Biel?
Rebecca Hall?
No, Jessica Biel.
Biel.
Jessica
Yeah.
Biel.
Yeah, I think, or maybe I'm thinking of other people. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, the anti-vaxxer on the football team. What's his name?
The football.
Aaron-
The one dating Shailene
Yeah.
Woodley?
Is his name Aaron something?
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
Oh.
him. Also him.
I'd like to say honorary Evangeline Lilly because she's also anti-vax.
Oh yeah.
But she's a woman, but we'll just throw her in on this list.
Also, Candace Cameron Bure, if you've ever watched Full House, she plays the oldest daughter. She's also anti-vax.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've moved on from men to just anti-vaxxers. But
Well, it's very topical.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, it is topical. There's a fucking freedom convoy outside my home, so...
Everyone in the Freedom Convoy,
Yeah.
universally.
Lots of men there, let me tell you.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like 99.9% men, so.
You'd be surprised how many families are hanging out there.
Oh.
Although, like, on the weekend, it just felt like a frat party. So,
Yeah, I bet.
people in frats, men in frats.
Fair enough.
We've all watched The Social Network too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. We all get it.
Okay, also, I don't know why, but Nick Jonas, his face just makes me kind of angry, and I don't know why.
I don't remember which Jonas brother that is. I just know he's one of the three.
Is that the one married to Priyanka
Yeah.
Chopra?
Yeah.
Okay, her too. We'll put her on the list as well. She's kind of annoying.
Why?
She's very annoying. Like she's like on TikTok and the internet
Marco,
sometimes, and
Okay, in this episode, you can't hate on women just for being annoying. You have to have a better reason.
I wish I had one, but like I just don't like her.
Save that
I'm
hate
sorry.
for another topic. This episode is uplifting women and trying to bring down hating on them.
Okay, no, I got it.
Okay.
She's in the Matrix 4. And I hate her character in that, and I hate the Matrix 4.
Oh, yeah.
At the end. Because her character is just exposition, and this is how we're gonna save the world. So for that, I hate her.
That's fair.
Alright. I'm glad.
Okay, I think we got a good list.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you have any more.
No.
Oh, Tucker Carlson.
What's his name? Fuck.
The InfoWars guy?
They're putting chemicals in the water.
Alex Jones.
Yeah. Also Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Sure. Ben Shapiro.
Elon
Ben
Musk.
Shapiro. Of course.
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah, how could we forget?
Everyone's favorite. This is a good list.
Yeah.
Got a good list. I like that game. Thanks, Marco.
Yeah, no problem. I thought it'd be fun. Fun way to end the episode.
It's just funny how the first person was Jared Leto.
Like
Like he's never actually done anything wrong.
no, he
He's
has
just
like a cult. Like he legitimately has like a cult of like women.
Oh, I thought you meant like just his
No,
following.
like people pay like thousands of dollars to spend a weekend with him.
Are you serious?
Yes!
I was
On a
unaware of
private
this.
island.
So not only do I hate him, but he's actually a bad person.
Army Hammer.
Oh,
The
yeah.
cannibal
Also
himself.
yeah, everyone's favorite cannibal. Army Hammer.
And everyone involved in Scientology. There we go.
Sure.
Fair.
Sure. I think that encompasses everything.
All our bases are covered.
I like how we named all celebrities. We didn't even name fictional characters. We didn't.
Oh,
we just.
there's a lot of every man
That's
in
just a whole other
Succession
can of worms.
is where I'm at right
Sure.
now.
Oh, Jordan Belfort, both in real life and in the movie Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh my God.
Just
I also
Obviously,
like
yeah.
how you said, like, because originally you're like, yeah, men we don't like it can be like real people. I thought you were gonna say like people we know, like friends.
oh, we can do that. We can do that and cut it out. I don't care, or we can leave it in. I'm sure none of them are listening to this.
I mean, I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, I don't know if I hate anyone I know in real life. I mean, I'm thinking of one right now, but I don't want to say his name.
I don't even know who you're thinking of. Do we all know them?
From our high school. Just think of like the most problematic guy from our high school.
That was a
You
while
make
ago.
it seem like that's an easy answer.
Once I say it, you guys are gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
We'll cut this out. I'm curious. I just
I
want
need
to
to
know.
know now.
Oh,
Okay.
of course. Yeah.
Just bleep the name.
Yeah,
but you
of
can,
course.
yeah, you can
We're
leave it in.
friends with him for a minute.
Me?
Yeah.
It's more like school acquaintance.
It was more like
Okay.
we were. It was more like he was friends with me.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
Like I was doing my thing and he was kind of like joined, and I was like, okay, I'm too nice of a person to be like,
Gotcha.
don't join. But then he left, so I was like,
Luckily.
good. Now he's
And
gone.
now he's married. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Cool. Yeah, I had a guess that was gonna be who you
Yeah.
were talking about.
Yep.
That's fair. Okay, well, before we actually sign off, I don't think I have any more fun facts, unfortunately. Or actually, no, I do. Apparently, Emerald Fennell's father-in-law is a retired police officer. So, to do her due diligence, she asked him, out of curiosity, how long it would take to smother someone. And he told her 2.5 minutes. So, they ended up filming the smothering scene for 2.5 minutes. And there was no stunt double used, no dummy. It was Carey Mulligan the whole time. And obviously, sometimes she accidentally couldn't breathe, so they had to have like a safe like tap she could do to get the actor off of her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is now officially the end of my fun facts.
Nice.
Because unfortunately, it was just a lot of hot takes and also a lot of sad facts. So.
But yeah, on the topic of that smothering scene, like I made a mental note, like, wow, this is intense. This is going on
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Not that I was like-
realistic.
Yeah,
it didn't
was
have to be, but she chose to make it realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely effective. Not to say that I was like, okay, can we end this? It was good. Like, well done.
Yeah. And then, like, even to see him, like, in the morning, having not slept, and, like, having to explain it to Joe. And also, like, what a piece of shit Joe was to immediately be like, it's not your fault. And he's like,
I know.
Yeah, no, you're
It's
right.
100%
like,
your fault.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, like, that's what my notes are. My notes are just a lot of, like, notes in caps. I think I have, like, many times. At one point I wrote scum with, like, 100 M's.
Scum.
Actually, can we add Al and Joe to the list?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
no,
definitely.
absolutely.
In the fictional characters category.
Very easily. Or even, like, the three guys talking at the beginning.
At the beginning, yeah.
Because the first lines are, fuck her.
Yeah.
Like, of the whole film, the first spoken lines, because they're talking about their woman colleague who's mad because they go to a man-only golf club to meet with clients. Which, like, can't believe that still exists in this day and age.
Aren't, like, most golf clubs still, like, man-only?
That is a big thing in that culture, yeah.
Like, I don't know anything about golf, but, like...
I don't either.
Just from Gilmore Girls, I would assume that they're all
No, but Rory was there. She golfed with her.
Oh, yeah, that's
grandpa.
right. That's right.
Oh, even I've seen that episode.
Yeah, you
I was
did.
there.
Yeah. It's one of, like, the 3 episodes you've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anyone have any other just, like, fun parts they wanted to point out?
Well, there weren't a lot of fun parts in the movie.
Favorite lines.
I guess I would wrap it up by saying, once again, I really like the movie. As we've discussed, like, every aspect is just very well done, down to the editing, which it was apparently nominated for as well, so that's cool. And I just wish I had to pirate it. If the law enforcement's listening, I didn't have to pirate it. But if they're not,
Allegedly, Dan had to pirate it.
We don't know.
Yeah, he might have. I don't know. Who can say?
That seems false.
That doesn't seem like something I would do.
Oh, Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, we didn't say Joss Whedon. How did we not say Joss Whedon?
Anyway.
That seems false.
Yeah, I wish I could have, like, watched it. I had to watch it on my phone. I wish I could have watched it on, like, a bigger screen.
Well, you watched it on your phone?
Yeah.
Well, you know what David Lynch would say. If you watched it on your phone, you never actually saw the movie in the first place.
Is he quoted as having said that?
Yeah. He's a funny guy.
Anyway, if you can watch it on, like, Crave or something, definitely go for it for the full experience. But yeah, I mean, coming out of this movie, I would certainly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fantastic film. It's a great directorial debut for a feature, and screenwriting debut for a feature as well. And, you know, it's relevant, like, timely, like, all these things, great performances, like Dan said. It's just a very, 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 very good movie, which, like, it's silly to say, but, like, I just feel like doesn't happen a lot anymore, like we've talked about. And I'm very excited, like, for what these next 3 episodes are for us, because they're basically just covering just very good movies with, like, no context around them other than just, like, someone had an idea, like, executed that idea in a really good way, which is always super exciting and super cool to me. And, like, if you want to support good movies, watch this one. Just 100% watch this movie, you know, because, like, it's just even, like, so much Oscar bait is garbage, you know what I mean? So, like, watch something that's, like, actually, like, this is actually good, and, like, people cared, and they really, really tried, and they weren't just trying to win an award, but they, like, wanted to just make this movie, and it all was great. So please watch it, please.
It's a very promising prospect.
Yeah.
Nice, Dan. I see what you did there. Good use of the word promising. Okay, I just have a few, like, little details that I loved and just wanted to give, like, a few shout outs to.
Sure.
To end the episode on my part. I love how when she leaves the first guy's house and she's walking home in the morning and she has ketchup on her leg, And you think it's blood because it is still the point in the film where you don't know if she's murdering them or not.
Yeah.
I liked that little trick. I also appreciated how when she first met Beau at the coffee shop, the song that's playing is Nothing's Gonna Hurt You, Baby, because we're supposed to think that he's not gonna hurt her and he's the good guy. Chef's kiss. I think those were the most... Okay, also one other line in particular in the dean's office when the dean goes, "Oh, is your friend okay?" at the end of their conversation. And she goes, "No, but Al Monroe is."
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was hard hitting.
Ouch.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that was great. Also, honorable mention to Max Greenfield running the second he hears the cop sirens because he's a little bitch.
Oh my god, so good. He's so good.
Oh, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love Max Greenfield so much. Like, it's so hard for me to, like, see him as anything other than Schmidt, so, like, yeah.
Okay, he was just on Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, like, literally last week. I know there's a million episodes of that, but it was a very good conversation. I learned a lot about him, like, as a person. I know you probably don't want to, like, know him too much outside of Schmidt, because Schmidt is, like, golden. But it was a very interesting conversation, so just recommend if you care about him.
I've also been listening to the New Girl podcast, and I'm sure he'll show up sooner rather than later on that, so yeah.
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 Whenever you say Schmidt, I can only think of 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
funny.
I get that.
It's funny how there's two great fictional characters named Schmidt who are both hilarious.
All right. So if that is it, I wrote an outro.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it. This is our first ever
I know.
Planned outro.
I'm trying to bring some structure to our show, guys. We're over a year in. I think it's time.
Agreed.
Okay. Thanks for listening to the feature-length podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean a lot to us if you liked this video or audio. Give us a rating and review if the platform you're listening to us on allows that. If you want to stay up to date with the latest episodes of the podcast, you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the bell to be notified when we post a new video, or follow the podcast on Spotify. If you want to connect with us directly, you can follow us on Instagram at Feature-Length Podcast, or even send us an email at featurelengthpodcast@gmail.com. Normally, I would then end it by saying, catch you on the flip side, which I don't know if we've ever explained before. People might think is lame, but it's because Feature-Length Podcast, FLP, kind of looks like flip, and we thought we were being clever. But I think this time a more appropriate ending is the same as her text messages ended at the end of the film, is with love from Carolina, Dan, and Marco. Winky face.